So in today's video, I'm going to talk to you about getting to know your business and understanding your competition. And I want to explain this to you and what I do to find that information out fairly easily. So without any further ado, let's go. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is John from Flippin Ain't Easy. And in this video, I wanted to talk to you about understanding your business and how it relates to you directly and your competition. And there's easy ways to do it, and I'll talk to you about that here in a minute. But I think a lot of us YouTubers come on and we talk about what works for us, and this is how I'm successful. But, it really falls on a lot of deaf ears, because what works for me may not work for you. You might sell something entirely different. There's literally, thousands, millions of items on eBay that, you can sell. And, what works for electronics, which is primarily what I sell, appliances, electronics, things like that, may not work for collectibles, may not work for baseball cards, books, you name it. And there is a way that you can go on, and every serious reseller should be doing this. They should be taking time out. Don't let it cut into your time where you're sourcing photos, testing if you need to, listing, and shipping. Don't let it take away from that time, because that's your core business. But if you are serious about doing better in this business than where you're already at, you need to see what your competitors are doing. And so I guess the question that you might have is, how do I see what my competitors are doing? Well, that's quite simple. You know what kind of items that you sell, okay? So the easiest way is to take an item that you've recently sold or are trying to sell, and maybe search for that item in the eBay search. And what I like to do is, once I get some results in the search, I like to look at the solds, because, people can try to sell their item for whatever, and they may not be successful at doing it. I don't want to see what those people are doing. I want to see what the people that are actually selling are doing. So click on the solds. That's the left-hand side down the screen if you're on the Mac or the PC on a browser. And click on sold. The completed listings, not so much. It usually goes along with the solds. And find an item that best resembles what you're selling. Now, you might be like me with electronics. There might be 100 items that have sold, but there may be only one or two of the type of item that you're selling. And maybe you might have a unique item, maybe find something similar to the item you're selling. Click on that item, okay, and find the seller. First of all, take a moment to look at the listing. See how their pictures look. Look at how they've put their titles together. Okay. See how their descriptions look, even though we know buyers don't read half the time, but still, for those that do read, make sure, take a look at the description. Maybe they're a little bit more accurate with their descriptions. Maybe they include more information in their descriptions. See how their shipping policies are set up. Do they charge for shipping for that item? And if so, can you gauge how much they would charge for shipping? That type of thing. So if you find an item that matches yours, maybe an item that's selling for more than you're able to sell your item for, that sort of thing, find the name of the seller, click on the seller's name, okay? And once you do that, I like to look at the feedback. I'm a nosy guy. I like seeing how people do in all aspects. So I'll take a look at some of the feedback. And then go into items for sale. There should be a hyperlink. You click on that link, and it'll show you all the items that they currently have for sale, okay? Now, take note of that. See how many items they have in their store, and maybe write that down, okay? Then go down the left-hand side, find the sold items again, and click on that. And then look for the number up in the left corner. And usually it's in bold, and that'll tell you how many items they've sold in the last 90 days. And, you know, you should know where your numbers are. And if you're not to that point, before you even do this experiment, you should already know how many items you've sold in the last 90 days. And to find that, you go to your orders, and it'll display how many items that you've sold. Even on your phone, on the app, it'll tell you how many items you've sold in the last 90 days. So you'll have an idea of how many items you have in your store versus how many items you've sold in the last 90 days. So back to this other seller. So now you're looking at how many items they have in their store, and you're looking at how many items that they've sold in the last 90 days. And it'll give you an idea of maybe if you see a store that, wow, my store is a lot like this one, yet they're making a lot more sales than me, or, you know, they're doing this differently than me. After about doing that for a handful of sellers, you're going to find different things that is working for them that maybe you can implement that you never thought of. Maybe their listings have photos that are set up differently. Maybe the way they're taking photos, maybe they're using a different background. Maybe they're using a background removal tool. Maybe their titles have, you know, an MSRP listed at the end. Maybe their titles have more information than yours. Maybe it can just go on and on and on. Maybe their prices are better. And, you know, that will help you understand a lot of things. You know, if they're able to sell their items lower than you're able to sell, that'll tell you that maybe they're sourcing better. And, you know, sometimes you need to have a benchmark when you're trying to get better, because, you know, if you're able to source this item for $10 and you think you're doing well with that, this party over here somehow is getting it for $5, they're going to beat you almost every time when it comes to price. They have the ability to go lower than you to make the same margins. And so I think sometimes we get comfortable in how we source and think it's fine, but that may be the reason why your sales are slow, because you, against your competition, aren't so hot. And if you lowered your prices to match them, you're not going to make so much. I've seen a lot of sellers, you know, wondering, how is it that I can sell this item for this and I'm making this, but this seller's selling it for that? And if I was to do that, I would only make $1 or $2. So maybe they're sourcing better. That means that maybe the place you thought you're getting good deals at, maybe you're not getting such great deals. Maybe it's time to look for other sourcing opportunities. You know, it could be a number of things. Maybe they're offering free shipping. I don't know if you're able to do that with the way your store is set up. It is much easier to compare what you're doing with your competitor directly selling similar items than you than it is to go and listen to any random YouTuber like myself or any of the big name YouTubers who may sell stuff that's way different than what you're selling and trying to follow what they're doing to a T. I can tell you, can promise you, it is much more effective to see what your direct competition is doing than to try to put into play everything I tell you to do, because what I do that works for me has so far worked for the items that I sell, which probably isn't what you're selling. So guys, what do you think? Please comment down below. You guys are excellent at doing that, and I certainly appreciate each and every one of you guys for doing that. While you're at it, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. I think only like 30% of the people watching this bother to subscribe. If you like this content, if you want to see more of it, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're notified when I make another video and when I eventually go live, which will be sooner than you think, I promise. So guys, whether you're doing something like this or not, whether you know what you're doing versus your competition or not, just know this is another example of how flipping ain't easy. And I'm going to talk to you guys very soon. Have a great start of your weekend and keep making those sales.